I'm Sandra Rupp. I'd like to thank the whole world for watching. I want to talk today about the Capitol Hill riot, based on my background in executive coaching, having worked with very powerful men. Oftentimes a PSYOP is about destabilizing a situation to make it look different than it is. Then there's the crisis, then there's the normalization. But what I am so upset about right now, America was founded for freedom of religion, freedom of speech. We must continue to have the dialogue. I was placed on the Thinkers 50 radar list for the world's top business thinkers. And if you remember that movie years ago called WAG the Dog, it was a movie about a political consultant who worked with the media. Big media is run by a handful of companies, run by CEOs that are liberal, quite left-wing, most based in New York. I don't think it would have ever happened without Antifa starting it, because I was literally there when the first video came out, and I saw these men trying to move in to the Capitol just as the deliberations were beginning in Congress. These men, all in their 20s, dressed in black, looked just like Antifa. They stormed the Capitol first. I want to know every name and background of every single one of those men, and there's a video out there. Representative Mo Brooks of Alabama has revealed that they were told the day before, on Tuesday, that Antifa was going to pose as Trump supporters so that they could stop the deliberations. Why were Trump supporters being told to come in and follow? Was this a setup? That's when PSYOPs take place. They're called false flags. There has been facial recognition done on some of the people that were in the Capitol riot, and they have been determined to be Antifa. This is a fact. I mean, no one can dispute it. The person that took the video of the horrible execution of the female Trump supporter was a man who was a member of Antifa. It starts to raise a lot of questions about the Capitol Hill riot. Basically, we never got our deliberations, right? They didn't even debate Pennsylvania. 99.9% of the Trump supporters are good people. At Twitter, I understand that Jack Dorsey was actually on vacation in French Polynesia when this all unfolded. The Twitter employees put a letter together to try and put pressure on him to take Trump off of Twitter. The problem is they're sitting in Silicon Valley. They're all left-wing. They're all young for the most part. They didn't have proper perspective like an executive coach on what really went down in Washington. For anyone who actually watched his 2-hour speech, it was a very professional, very peaceful, very well-delivered speech. And he did not incite any violence. He said, America deserves free and fair elections. That's part of his responsibility as a leader, to make sure that all of you have free and fair elections. I think it's very important for every CEO out there who's liberal to have the perspective of a conservative female executive coach, because you represent a lot of shareholders, you represent a lot of customers, you represent a lot of employees, and I guarantee you they don't all think like you do. I don't like it when all these CEOs band together. And I will tell you this, when you get a bunch of STEM majors in a room, all male, there's a lack of what's called emotional intelligence, telling our president that he cannot have a voice. This is against Section 230. Okay, so for anyone who says, oh, you know, a private company can do whatever they want. Well, in the case of social media, they can't, because once they start to pull certain people and not others, they're becoming a publisher, okay? And the problem there is that when they become a publisher, they're then opened up to many other issues, and they have to really revamp their business model. So what's going to happen now with the boards of directors of the tech companies is they're all going to be concerned about this. 50% of America can't just be eliminated from social media. It's ethically wrong. We've got to get to the bottom of it. And I don't know one CEO on this planet who would not sit in a room with me and agree with me if he knew all this. A lot of them are very young. They may know everything about technology, computer programming, making $1 billion. But when it comes to intelligent decision making, that's where an executive coach actually offers a lot of value. And we will not bow down to Davos and Bilderberg CEOs who are trying to take away our freedom. I do not like the treatment of Delta Airlines and America Airlines of Trump supporters, so I'd like to mention to Ed Bastian at Delta, you better get your act together. I think you've been divorced at least 3 times. I just want everyone to know also that the CEO of American Airlines supported Hillary Clinton, so we know where his politics are. So just be careful when you get on these airlines or you deal with these CEOs that you know what you're dealing with. Because we will not accept CEOs who are not objective and who do not allow the people to have a free and fair election. And Jamie Dimon at JP Morgan Chase, I would include you in that. And we have a lot to talk about, Jamie, because I am not happy right now. I am not happy with the CEOs of Davos. I think that they were into election meddling. Some of them have even told me they're communist. America will never bow to communism. And I guarantee you that President Trump will be doing something really big, whether he becomes president again or whether he starts a media company or a social media company or a media empire. He will revamp this whole process. And I would just ask the shareholders of Twitter and Facebook to be a little bit concerned, because when Trump gets into something, he does it big time. I have had some amazing friends from business school contact me, very influential people, to say thank you so much, Sandra, for your leadership in continuing to speak up. A lot of media is now sprouting up in places like Florida and Texas, and we're getting a much more expansive view of what's really going on. Let me tell you something. I look out for the average person. I always have, and I always will. So for all of my friends who pretend to be liberal and to think that they're better than the average person, I've got news for you. Don't ever silence anyone. This country was founded for freedom of religion and freedom of speech. My ancestors got on that Mayflower for a reason. I'd like to give a big thank you to Ted Cruz and to Mo Brooks and to Josh Hawley and all the people who have supported President Trump. You men and women are heroes who represent the good people of America, the people of Main Street, many people who are looked down upon by limousine liberals. And one thing's for sure, you haven't seen the last of President Trump. Thanks so much for watching, and I'd like to give a warm welcome to President Trump, Patrick Byrne. Love you all. Please subscribe on YouTube, follow me on Twitter, follow me on Parler, watch for me on WordPress, viewers in 168 countries around the globe. Thanks so much for watching.